Okay, I'm leaving. I'll see.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys had a good snow day. Um, Today we're gonna go over a small recap about Intents and Manifest, and then we're gonna do a demo where I show how to retrieve location permissions. Yeah, because that will be useful in the homework, I think. Okay, cool. So these are the announcements from last week, from 2 days ago. Homework 2 is due 2 days ago, and enroll in Student Center if you haven't already. I don't know when that closes, like probably in like 5 days.
I think it's 17.
Okay.
But I also received a bunch of emails about homework too, so I will be grading the submissions within my emails too. And I know some people had issues with like submission size. I'll try to fix that in CMS to make it as large as possible.
Yeah.
And I'll also change it so slip days will be counted.
Do you guys have any thoughts about the homework? Was it good, bad, hard, easy? Probably not easy. It's okay. Okay, so now let's talk about intents. So intents are used for communication between app components, and they're used both inside an app and to communicate externally outside of an app. And so there's two types of intents. There's explicit and implicit. So we use explicit intents to communicate within our app from one activity to another, but we use implicit intents to communicate outside of the app. And the reason why we call them explicit and implicit is because when we have explicit intents, we're telling our app exactly what we want them to do, right? We want to open up a different activity and we want to give it some data so that they can like populate their screen. And then it's called an implicit activity if you call another app, because you don't really know what the other app is going to do with your data. You're just giving them the data and telling them to handle it. Okay. So yeah, like I said, explicit is used to launch other activities in your app, like clicking the heart on Instagram and getting directed to the notifications page. And implicit is used to perform an action based on a desired result, like clicking to share information on another app. Okay. So yeah, here is a diagram. And yeah, here is another diagram where we have sharing to Drive, Facebook, setting as profile picture, etc. Okay. So here's the syntax for explicit intents, which I think you might need in your homework. Definitely will in the future. So explicit intents are used to launch other activities in your app. And the basic format is you create an intent variable or value, and the intent takes in two things. So it takes in this, which is the context of your current activity, and then it takes in the target activity. And the two colons here, and then class.java means that we're casting it to a Java class, because originally Android development is done in Java. And so although Kotlin is easier for us, the intent still wants it as a Java class, which is why we do this. And then we say intent.put extra eatery name OpenShields. So we're passing information along the intent to the other activity so that the other activity can populate their screen. And so this is helpful for numerous options, activities, because you can either have like, they're displaying like, the most basic thing is eatery name is OpenShields, and then they're just displaying OpenShields at the top, or Max, Terrace, whatever. But a more complicated way is if they say OpenShields, you're displaying a whole screen for OpenShields that's dedicated to their opening and closing hours and their food. But if they say Max, then you're doing something completely different, and you can like make cases off of this. So yeah, and then in the target activity, you want to retrieve the eatery name by doing get intent, get extras, because here we have put extra, and then get string with eatery name as our key. So yeah, so you can think of this as like eatery name is the key, and then OpenShields is the value in like a dictionary, if you've done Python or other things. But yeah, so for example, if we have the first screen and then we click on bare necessities, then in our intent we put eatery name equals, and then we put bare necessities, and then from the database we retrieve all of the bare necessities things like the photo and the popular times and the opening hours, closing hours, etc. And then we populate the screen with whatever we have. Okay. And then implicit intents are requests to perform an action based on a desired result. So we call them implicit because the destination is kind of unknown. So Google provides a long list of different kinds of intents. We can start phone calls, we can share information to other apps, open the browser or take photos, etc. The list goes on. Here's an example of an implicit intent. So for this one, we want to compose an email, and notice how the email in the documentation, they want us to provide them with some extras in the intent. So when we do intent equals intent action dot send to, we can also use dot apply, and then we can do put extra instead of doing like intent dot put extra. And then we'll have like the extra, like what the email body is, and then what the subject is, and etc. And then we start activity. Okay. Any questions up until this point? Good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the manifest. The manifest is kind of like a master file. It contains information about the app, application's name, activities, fragments, requested permissions, and software requirements. Each activity in the app must be declared in the manifest, but generally when you create a new activity, Android will just automatically do this. Yeah. So in the Android manifest file, every application must specify the activity that acts as the entry point with action.main. So this will be the activity that launches when you run the program, right? And so we'll say action, Android name, android.intent.action.main. And generally, this will probably be your main activity, which could hold like other activity or like fragments inside of it. But yeah. This is also done automatically, but sometimes you want to change which activity launches, especially if like one case that this is really useful is if you have an onboarding screen, then sometimes you want to see the onboarding screen, but like usually if you're opening the app, you don't want the onboarding screen. The onboarding screen is like when you first download the app and you have to like type in your information, right? Like phone number, name, email, etc. And so it's usually really hard to access the onboarding screen because you're not supposed to get to it again once you've opened the app like a second time. But you can like move this intent filter action into the onboarding activity or rename the activity here. And then you'll be able to run the onboarding flow, which is nice. Yeah, so another thing that manifest controls is permissions. So some common permissions that apps use are location, internet use, and user storage. And we must specify all required permissions in the manifest file, regardless of whether they're normal or dangerous. However, if we have normal permissions, then they're automatically granted, while with dangerous permissions, we have to explicitly ask the user to give us permission. So that includes like find location, user storage, camera, mic, etc. Runtime permissions that give app access to restricted data. So like they can allow the app to perform restricted actions that affect the system like permanently. And when we ask for these types of permissions, we want to make sure that it's as transparent as possible so that the users are inclined to give us these permissions. Does that make sense? Yeah, great. We want to place a special emphasis on permission situations. So we want to make sure that we account for all situations, including when the user denies all of our permissions, right? We don't want to just have an app that crashes. We want to make sure that we can still provide whatever functionality we can. Even if we can't provide any, we should probably provide like a screen that describes why we can't and also gives them a chance to retry allowing these permissions, right? So yeah, we need situations for when they deny all permissions, when they only allow permissions when the app is opened, and also when they always allow permissions, which is the obvious one, because that's, I think, what usually people do. So here's a helpful flow chart to decide whether you want to declare or like how to operate with permissions. So for example, can you provide functionality without declaring permissions? If you can provide all your functionality without declaring permissions, then just go for it, right? You can fulfill your use case. Otherwise, you want to declare them in your app manifest file. If they're a runtime permission, which means they're a dangerous permission and we have to explicitly ask for them, then we want to request the user to grant permission at runtime. Otherwise, no further action is needed other than putting it in your permissions file. So permission syntax. Syntax is very tricky and none of us remember it. So we always come back to like the slides or the textbook somewhere to find it, which is perfectly normal. Hopefully this demo video serves as a good guide to you. So the step one is to add the dependency to the build.gradle. And I'll be going over all of these steps in the demo. So the step one is to add the dependency to the build.gradle. So we use easy permissions as our as our library because it makes it a lot easier and makes permissions lasting. So yeah. Then we want to override Android's default permissions handling flow. so that we can use the easy permissions one. So as you can see, it says easy permissions dot on request permissions result. Some arguments. Yeah. So this is just like syntax. You don't need to memorize this. It'll always be in the textbook and in the video. And then we need to declare permissions in the app manifest. So for example, this app uses course location, find location. Course location is a normal permission. Find location is a dangerous permission. And I believe read contacts is also a dangerous one. And you can tell they're dangerous because apps have asked you for them in the past. So that's how we know. And then we want to make unique request codes for each permission. And this is used for the easy permissions library so that we can keep track of which permissions have been granted and which ones have yet to be granted. Does this make sense? Okay. And then we want to handle the permissions flow in the onCreate. So in this piece of code, we can see if we don't have the permissions, then we request the permissions with the request code. Otherwise, we just do everything that we can. Okay. And then we want to make a function that's triggered on a permission being granted, just to like make sure that it's working and our permission is working. Yeah. So usually like this one, you don't have to do much in it. You can just like log it and be like permission is granted, and now we're chilling. Yeah. So that's the end of the recap of lecture, and now we're gonna jump into the demo. So the demo goal for this lecture is we want to create a location grabber. So it'll access your course and find location, and then it'll display the longitude and latitude, and it'll update every time you click pull location. And yeah, this will also require a permission. So yeah, let's first try to do the UI elements. So try putting the text boxes down and the buttons, and constraint aligning them correctly, and also having like the text size, the font size correct. And let's see, right now it's 8:49, 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just take 10 minutes to try to.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I think we can do it until 9. That's 11 minutes. Wow. You're not cutting that out.
Cutting it out. Actually, you'll cut it out. You'll post it.
This video might not get posted then. I'm cutting that out of the transcript. You know how we have to make the season. Oh.
Making it, I just remember
We haven't been using high contrast colors either.
Yeah, but
This is
I
very
switched away from the green.
this is very low contrast. Yeah, wait, why'd you switch away from the green?
Because I can't see green.
Oh, that's very slow. Yeah. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And also location grabber, like the title, make it bold and italic. This matters a lot.
Wow.
It doesn't matter at all. But yeah. And if you're done early, you can try to extract the string resources because that's a good practice that we usually do.
And I'm gonna open homework 3 on CMS right now, so I don't forget.
Slay.
The lecture page, there's actually there's actually like homework two's answers so that you can build off of something that works, just in case your app doesn't work. But if you want to build it off your own app, feel free to do that too.
I have a final on the 20th, the first day of Head in the Clouds.
But I was thinking going, but I don't think I will. Because I think I'm going one first before internship. I'll be here to get my Sunday. We can hang out. You don't want to hang out with me.
Who knows? Who knows?
You don't want to hang out with me, Maxwell.
No, that's not why.
Oh.
I just, what if I can't get one in the States, an internship? What if I have to go to China?
Are you going to China?
No.
So you just hang out with me. I'll give you free bananas.
Bananas? Oh my God, score. My potassium's going to the roof.
Yeah. Okay, I think I just opened.
No one's doing homework through right now. Let's be so for real. Mhm. Do you guys have any questions, problems, concerns? I didn't even do it like this. Mine looks different because I was too lazy to change the fonts of latitude and longitude.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's so ugly. But you can make your own theme and you can change it.
No. I did set a options.
Wow.
Or Catherine did.
I didn't do anything for the hack challenge. Wait, Catherine Lee?
Yeah.
She was an Android?
Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen.
What?
She went to web dev.
What's on the video? You better cut this out.
Oh, but, oh no.
She also put back in.
Wow. I'm taking backend. I'm so excited to leave. I love Android.
That's so cool.
I just want to expand. I just want to expand my horizons. No, because like chances are I won't be able to leave. Backend is so competitive.
It's true. They have a whole team. You can try marketing.
Shungo's leaving. I can get into backend. Shungo's leaving. I'll take Shungo's spot.
That's a tough replacement.
I'll take Kate's spot.
No, they're gonna completely change their backend URLs, not to fix all of them,
Oh. Wow.
because they decided to they decided to refactor and they got rid of it. Okay. Well, you haven't gotten to this part of backend yet.
No.
Right. But before it was like a main URL, right?
Mhm.
But they got rid of the main and they're splitting it into like slash eatery slash admin. So now when I
That makes sense.
call from the front end, it's like harder.
Fine. Oh, because you don't have like a
I don't have
concept.
like a main URL. Like I have to change the URL
Oh
every single.
no.
Yeah. Well, they didn't think. The goofiest part is that they never told me until after they already pushed the fixes.
Oh.
So I was like, I keep getting this 404 error.
They're like, oh, that's weird.
It's just like, oh,
So funny. I'm gonna clear out my email inbox and then we'll get on with it. Corin accepted my PR.
I don't make it because you know, I was like, oh, just PR it. Now if you change the backend, nothing works. So I gotta fix it.
So confused. I'm feeling lonely. I spent too much money recently. Oh my god. I went to Ren's and I got like $100 worth of food.
You have a kitchen. What do you think?
No, like snacks.
Oh. I went to rent and I got a bunch of dumplings.
Do you have a kitchen?
This is my cooking area.
Oh, oh.
I mean, no, just cook like that.
Oh, at the front.
You know, the kitchen next to the wood pool party.
Oh yeah.
That's where I cook.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
My location.
Nicole, you only have 1 minute left. You only have 1 minute left.
My Android's video crashed on me. Oh no.
What? I had to do some weird things.
Just not work. Yeah.
All right. All right. So now I'm gonna start doing it too. So I'm gonna create a new project, empty activity, and I'm gonna call it demo 3 point 1 because I already did demo 3. I did it once for myself just to make sure that it would work and that I knew what I was doing. Okay. So I'm just waiting for Gradle to configure, and then I'm gonna start by doing the XML stuff just like y'all did. And then we're gonna get to the meat of our thing. Okay. So this one, hello world, we're gonna call this location grabber. No, we'll call it location title actually, is the ID. And then here inside of the text, we want to call it location grabber. And then let's go look for the text size. We want to make this approximately 24. Text style, we want to do bold and italic. And then we're going to change its bias so that it's up around here, I would say. Don't really know. Okay, and then the next thing is now we want to create another one. And this one we can call it, I believe, latitude text. And then let's look for the text. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, sorry. Wait, what did I call latitude text? Oh no, we should not call this one latitude text. Sorry, I have a bad habit of selecting off the text view after I select it. But yeah, let's call this latitude text. And then we want to give it some constraints. So let's constrain it to here and then down low. And then we want to add constraints on all four sides, basically always. And then we'll have it somewhere here. And the text inside should say latitude not yet found. Okay. And I'll make it a bit bigger just so it's more visible. So text size, let's set it to like 16 SP. And then let's create another one. And then this one, we're going to call it longitude text. And we're going to constrain it, yeah, refactor, constrain it to latitude text, constrain it down, constrain it right, and then constrain it left. And then this one, we're going to move it slightly like here, I guess. And inside of the text, we want to say longitude not yet found. And then finally, we want a button. And this button, we can constrain it here and here, here, and here. Okay. And this button, we want to call it poll location because that's what we want to do with it. And then let's see. Inside of the text, we want to call poll location exclamation mark. Sorry. No exclamation mark. I lied. Okay. Okay. Any questions up until this point? Do you all have this now? Good. Okay. So now here, let's do a couple things first. Let's first extract latitude text. And we want to import text view, and we want to do find view by ID r.id.latitude text. And then val longitude text view. We want to do the same thing, find view by ID r.id.longitude text. And then we want to do val poll button equals find view by ID. And we want to import button r.id.poll location. Okay. So now let's go look at our slides. So first, we want to go into our build.gradle, and this will be the build.gradle module one. And we want to add implementation com.vm addlin easy permissions -ktx 1.0.0. Can you guys all do this? Thumbs up when you're done. And also after you edit your Gradle, you might have to sync it again. So it'll ask you at the top sync now, and then you press that and it'll do it for you. I'm gonna go do it too. So here we're gonna go down into implementation, and it's com.vm.adeline.easy permissions -ktx:1.0.0. Okay. And then it says Gradle files have changed since last project sync. So we press sync now and it'll build it a bit and it looks good to go. Do we have any questions about that? Yeah. Here. Yeah. Okay, great. So then the next step is we want to override Android default permission handling flow. So yeah, this is gonna be quite long. I think for the interest of time, I'm gonna do it and then you guys can just look back at the recording. Is that fine? Good with y'all? Okay, great. I'm also kind of lazy, so I don't want to do it. So I have it written here already and I'm gonna copy paste it in. Yeah, so this should be outside of your onCreate function, by the way, because it's a different function. And it seems like we have a problem with easy permissions. So let's see. We probably want to import easy permissions here. So if we go into our imports, we paste this in. That's weird. Let's see. Let's see if I typed it into my build.gradle correctly. So here in the build.gradle, we want this. I think I might have made a typo somewhere. Yeah. So I accidentally used a period here instead of a colon, but it's supposed to be a colon. So now we're gonna sync it. Gonna go back here, easy permissions. And I should just be able to copy paste it over now. As you can tell, a lot of this is just about copy pasting and not actually doing it. So yeah, now we have Android default permissions handling flow. Sorry, wait, let me figure out if I can desktop one, sure. Okay, so yeah, so now we have Android's default permissions handling flow. We've overridden it with ours that uses easy permissions. And now we want to declare the permissions in the apps manifest. So for us, we just want to do up here, uses permission, and we want to first specify course location, and then uses permission, find location. Okay. Any questions about that? No. Is it a bit small? Maybe I should make it bigger. Let's see. Is that better for y'all? Okay, sorry. Okay. And then the next thing that we want to do is make unique request codes for each permission so that the library knows where to go after each permission is granted. So we also want to do that outside of the funcreate. So here, this is just, it's a bit complicated, but basically we just want to do companion object const val request. So this is just a variable name, so it doesn't matter what you name this, but I'm going to say request code location equals 0. Okay. And so you can see they have like const val request code camera, photos, microphone, etc. Okay. And then now we want to handle the permissions flow in onCreate. So we have like I hope this code makes sense. It says like, if we don't have the permissions, then we want to request the permissions. Otherwise, we do what we want to do. So I'm just going to copy paste this part over. It's just here, this thing. And so we have this else, do what we want to do with location. Okay. Yeah. And our rationale is please give location because we really want it for the app to work. Sorry, I was not in the best state of mind when I made this. Yeah, and then the last thing that we want to do is we want to make a function that's triggered on a permission being granted so that we can make sure that our permission is actually being granted. So here we can do after permission granted, fun on location permission granted, log.b location permission is our tag, and then granted is our message. And here we want to pass in the value request code location, I believe, just so that they know which one we're looking at. Okay. And yeah, after that, we just need to do what we want to do with the location. So here it gets a little bit complicated as well. I'm going to do create some variables to help me keep track of the current location and like longitude and latitude. So we'll say current longitude equals none, var current latitude equals none. And then here we want to do pull button dot set on click listener. And then inside of here, first we want to pull the location, and finding the location is just a bunch of syntax. So you can find it over here. Basically, we want to create a location manager. And then we want to check the permission itself. And this is just like something that they make us do. So I'll show it without this. So first we want to create the location manager, right? Val location manager equals get system service, location service as location manager. And then ideally what we want to do is just call location manager.get current location on the GPS provider. And this is something that works on both the emulator and the physical device, which is why we use it. And then cancellation signal is null, and we want to use application.main executor. So this all seems like very complicated, and we don't expect you to ever memorize this code. This is all just going to be template code that we're going to use. But yeah, basically we want to get the current location, and then we want to set the text. So we actually don't have these things right now, but okay, so this bit of red I'll adjust later, and that's why we need like the if else thing that we had before. But right now I'm just going to create the strings because it will be helpful for formatting. So then we create string name equals longitude, latitude text, I believe. And then here inside we want to say latitude, and then I believe the syntax here is $S. And then string name equals longitude text longitude, and then here we also want to do %$1. And basically what this $$1 means is that we're going to be substituting a string into here. So yeah, any questions about that? No, great. So sorry, they're supposed to just be called longitude and latitude. Okay. And now this part isn't complaining. And now we have this error. And this error says call requires permission, which may be rejected by user. Code should explicitly check to see if permission is available or explicitly handle a potential security exception. So even though we've already checked, Android Studios is still not sure that we have the permission, and that's why they want us to add a permission check. So if we click add a permission check, then it'll create this whole thing, right? If activity compat.check self permission is not equal to this, then we want to do something to request the permissions, but we don't need to do anything here because we already know that we have the permissions. And then here we just say else, and then we put all of this inside of the else statement. And then it'll complain about our SDK level. So, yeah. So these both complain about that, and you can go into your build.gradle. And right now our minimum SDK is 21, but for this location thing, the minimum one needs to be 30. So we're going to set it to 30. And then we want to sync the Gradle. We always want to do that after we change it. And then let's go back into main activity, and they're no longer complaining. So now I think it should work. Kind of nervous. Gonna run it anyway. Okay, so now Gradle build is running. What? I got it. If it doesn't work, we're just switching over to the other project file. Okay. Yeah. So I think Gradle has an issue with us compiling on 32 for some reason. So change your target SDK to 33. And then I believe your compile SDK should also be 33. But yeah. Now let's go back to sync. And notice how it's grayed out if we haven't synced Gradle. So now it's making sure everything is fine. Build is successful, and now we can run it. Okay, so you can see in our onCreate, we request the permission because we haven't had it yet. So I'll say only this time. And then let's go into logcat and let's look, and we can see that location permission, it says granted. So after the permission is granted, it'll say granted, and now we're good to go. But notice how it says latitude is not yet found and longitude is not yet found. And I'll try to make this one bigger. And now we want to pull location. And I think it'll take a second, but hopefully it updates. Oh my God. Why is it not working? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Um, latitude, longitude. Sure. Let's try running it again. And also, I noticed that I forgot to change the text size of this, I think. No, it's not okay. It's bugging me. So let's change it to 16. But yeah. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Now it works. And yeah, those are similar to the coordinates I got when I tested this in Statler library earlier. So it does seem to be working. Does anyone have any questions about this? No? Okay. I will post this as soon as possible because I understand it's really confusing. And I think I can also make a link to the slides. So if you ever want to refer to that, I'll post that on Ed. Yeah.
Also, I think the textbook has really clear run through of everything.
Yeah,
So you
definitely.
don't have to, like flip through all the slides. The textbook has everything just like in an article.
Yeah. And of course, we're also all here if you need any help during office hours. But yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Wonderful. Do we have a Kahoot? No Kahoot. Wonderful. No Kahoot. Oh my God. That was so much sense. It's okay.
I mean, I feel like the last Kahoot.
Yeah, that's true. Um, maybe I could post. Yeah, I think I'm not sure. But yeah, this code is definitely really complicated. If you asked me to replicate it without the side by side, probably could not. So don't feel bad. It's okay. And also, I don't know why, but my system UI always crashes. But if I press wait, it just is fine. So there's that. What? I don't know. I don't know. It's just the one I have downloaded. Okay. Um, yeah, I should probably get a different one. Okay. There was like one other thing that I wanted to do. Okay. Yeah. I think it's like I think I can round it if it's a decimal. So then let's see. Okay, so location dot latitude gives us a float. And then here, let's say this is 0 0.0 and 0 0.0. Okay, I'm just like trying stuff now. And then let's not log this. Okay, no equal sign here. And then, is that how I do it? I think so, right? Top 5. Oh, slay. Okay, and now let's try running it again. And hopefully we have it rounded. And hopefully the font sizes are the same. Oh, that's not the app that we should be looking at. That's good. I had a heart attack. Oh my god. No. Um,
Okay, it's okay. We want you to turn.
okay, it's okay. I have two. Why is Scooped running? Let's go switch it up. Oh, how do I leave? Okay, escape. Um, Spring format, Kotlin, Android Studio. Yeah. Oh, maybe I don't need 0.5. Maybe it's just 5. And then F for float. Let's try this. I don't know why it's stuck on Scoop. Can you please not be stuck on Scoop? Please. Okay. And this time we can say while using that because I don't want to do it every time. And it'll take a second, I think. Oh my god. Please work. Please. I don't want to log it again.
Okay, but it's 9:25.
Oh,
Feel free to go.
oh my god. I'm so sorry for keeping you guys. But yes,
If we find a solution, that's what we'll post on Ed.
I will. Okay. Oh, look. Okay, look. And now it has like 5 decimal places at the end.
The 5.
Well, one of them has 5, so okay, none of them have 5.
I'll have 6 of that too.
Make it 2. Sorry. Yeah, I have to redo the thing, but it works. And now we even have the decimal rounding. And for reference, my other one did not look like this. It looked, wait, it did. Yeah, the font was really small. Wait, no, it didn't look like this. But yeah, sorry. I'm running on a tangent. If you guys need to go, go. Actually, just go. Not even like, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Homework due this Sunday.
Pause, stop recording. Bye, guys. Enjoy.